Hello.
Hello. I don't usually say
You
that to her. I usually
normally
go,
say hi,
ah.
just throwing me off. Welcome to That'll Be the Tism. We're a podcast about autism and our lives as late diagnosed autistic and ADHD adults. I am full of cold and Claire is pained
Just
today,
can't be
so
today. So
we're gonna
um,
have a spoon-free
that's the
episode.
end of the podcast.
It's our 13th episode of That'll Be the Tism. And we said at the end of the last episode, we're about due a spoon free episode, I think. And then life has smited us.
But that this is feeding into the idea that 13's unlucky now, isn't it? Which I don't think that it is.
I don't think it's unlucky at all.
So
I think it's fine. It's just a number, isn't it? But
yeah,
now
it's
you,
what's called triskaidekaphobia.
it's called
That's
what?
triskaidekaphobia.
You're the one that's editing the podcast. I'm not spelling that.
Cool.
That's
Really
what
glad I said that. Anyway, I'm not scared of the number 13 boys everywhere in my life. So, well, no, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
Wait, we saw it a lot on the day we went to see Steps.
Hmm.
There was 13s all over the place.
Platform 13. My train was at 13 minutes past.
But when I was starting my coaching business, I did a little marketing coaching course thing. I've done lots of marketing coaching courses. And there's a thing about when you're looking for something and when it's in your head, you see it everywhere. And the lady tells a story about a yellow mini. And then I was excited because then I used to have a yellow mini and I could completely relate to when you don't see any yellow minis anywhere. And then you buy a yellow mini
Mm.
thinking, oh, well, no one has one of these. And then all of a sudden they're everywhere. So there's the kind of thing that you see something more when you're aware of its existence and you're kind of subconsciously looking for it. But then there's the weight, I guess, of the 13 and what does it mean and overthinking things that is more of a tismy thing.
Yeah, because people say that it's an unlucky number. So when you see it all the time, which I do have periods of time where I do, like I once pulled a label out of my dog's mouth that had like 13 on it. I don't know where she'd got it from.
Just 13?
Yeah, the end bit, like it was the end of it, and it was 1-3. Yeah.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. So maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's somebody trying to tell me that I should put that on as a lottery number or something.
I was going to say maybe it's a lucky thing.
Yeah.
Don't know.
But
It's weird.
we'll see what happens.
So, yeah, we're on our 13th episode. I think we've done all right, actually, to get this far.
Yeah, that's
Right.
like more than,
It's like a quarter of a year.
yeah,
Um,
waffling.
yeah. So it's not. Anyway, it's 6 months. We do one every. Oh my God, my brain really isn't working. It's one every other week. So it's the half year point for That'll Be the Tism. 13 episodes, 26 weeks,
Mm,
half a year. 6 months, Claire. Happy 6 monthery.
6 month three is that a thing?
I
It
know.
is now.
It is now, yeah. I mean, it will be, maybe.
We've
Uh,
made it a thing.
yeah, we made it a thing because we're trendsetters.
Mm.
So today we're going to just talk a little bit about some stuff. I know that's what we always do, but we're not having a rave. I think if we put the rave on, my head might explode.
You just have to imagine that the rave happened. Um, just close your eyes and think about a rave when it's, well, that's what we could do.
Yeah.
Right, just have
Just
a,
sit in silence for 10 seconds. Just say if you want to hear a rave, just imagine it. But you do realise that the
yeah.
listeners can pause us at any time. So my suggestion was going to be if you want a rave, just pause us, play a rave, and come back.
No, because what if they play a really long rave and then
Forget to
they're,
come back.
they're distracted and they forget to come back?
It's a risk.
I imagine that happens a lot.
I think we have to just trust in ourselves that we're engaging enough to want to come back to.
Hmm.
You're not convinced.
Yeah, that's not happening this week.
We might be engaging. I've got a few things to talk about.
Um, I probably find some things to talk about. I
I
don't
mean,
feel like.
Yeah, we have some things. I mean, I'm gonna, yeah. What have you been up to since we last spoke?
Don't know really.
No.
Probably not a lot.
Mm.
Can't remember. I genuinely, maybe I shouldn't be.
I can remember the last weekend, the last 2 days that have happened. But before
Mm.
that, it's all a little bit of a. Last Monday, I had my GP appointment about my ADHD medication. I've just said to Claire, it's a bleeding good job we weren't doing the podcast last Monday because I would have been having a meltdown at the time of the podcast because I was told I have to go for an ECG and my pulse rate is irregular, which I knew, but my blood pressure's never high when I'm at the doctor's, but it was. So I've been hyper focusing this week on my blood pressure and it's been fine every day and it's been fine both times every day. And so I'm no longer panicked about that, but it was a bit of a shell shock. And then I had to go and do the food shopping, which I don't normally do. And so I was just wandering around Tesco in kind of a half meltdown, half I don't even know how to function. But I managed to get all of the things we needed from Tesco. And the week apart from that's just been a little bit of a blur.
I
What's it
think,
been?
I think that's my problem. I don't think I could tell you what I did. I spent all Friday making phone calls, which is for work, which is probably one of the parts of my job that I find most difficult when it's only a few a day. So to have to do it for pretty much 6 straight hours wasn't one of my favourite times. Maybe that's why my mouth hurt. That
Maybe.
sounds. I haven't told the podcast that my mouth hurts yet. My jaw hurts. That's why I'm spoon free because it's kept me awake a bit. Had headaches as well,
Yeah.
but I finished work on Friday and nothing really made sense anymore because of the amount of times I'd said the same thing.
Oh, I hate that.
So I just said to my husband, "Can I go in the bath?" I just sat in the bath for 3 hours because that's a way for me to reset. It's a sensory reset for me. I know that like it'll reset my brain to just go and sit in there for
Do you
a
just
bit.
top it up with hot water?
Mm,
Ah.
yeah. Take my laptop. I watched a episode of Married at First Sight
Now you see, the
in the
thing with
bath.
Married at First Sight is, I can't imagine managing to convince my fiance to watch it. And I don't really have any time to watch telly without him. And B, I get too into it. It becomes a thing that I'm fixated on. And then I have to commit to watching it all the time. And I don't like being behind and I don't like being spoiled. So I have to watch it.
We usually watch Married at First Sight, me and my husband, but this year is like, no, it's too ridiculous. Everybody's too ridiculous. You can just watch it on your own. So I think it's been on for over a week now, and I've watched 2 episodes, so probably won't end up watching it this year.
It's on like every day, is it? Not every. Is it on every day?
It's not, I think it is this year. It's on every day except one. But the first 2 episodes that I've watched are people that are like, oh, I want to go for like somebody that's not my usual type. And then when they get somebody that's not the usual type, they have a meltdown. And you're just like, why have you gone on there then? Why have you said that that's what you want? And then they give it to you, and you're just like, that's not what I want.
Oh no, that's annoying.
What are you doing? And I know the answer is probably just because they want to be famous.
Oh no, but it's a bad way to get
Um,
famous though, I would say, to get famous via being a dick on a TV show and
yeah, it
being
is. But that's been like there's been 4 couples so far, and of the 4 couples, 2 of them have been like that. They're like, what have you put me with this person for? And it's like
ah,
you've just spent the entire past 10 minutes saying that's what you wanted, that you wanted somebody different.
yeah.
It just heightens my awareness that I really don't understand people.
Yeah. The last one I watched, two of the couples, one of each of those couples got with each other instead of with the person they'd matched.
Oh, yeah, that happens every year as well.
Does
I
it?
think that's part of the reason why my husband doesn't like it anymore because it's got a bit East End, does he?
Yeah, I find it very difficult to understand people, and going on something like that is like, yeah, I can't imagine anything worse than not being prepared for something like that. I really, it's like my idea of hell. So
Yeah.
that's,
Well, it's surprises, isn't it?
but
If
then
they're not, they had a couple of ADHD people on there last year, but if they ever have an autistic person on there, then I'd be surprised.
I feel like
Because
it's
when we need to know everything and
yeah,
plan everything, marrying somebody
we've never met.
without knowing who they're going to be and not really getting much of a say in planning your wedding just really seems a bit
Yeah,
like a surefire way to have a meltdown on national television.
yeah, it does.
But you know,
Have you ever watched that Love on the Spectrum?
no, but I've had people say that it's good.
Yeah, I have as well. I've had quite a few people recommend it to me. I would expect it to be something that is making it, I don't know, corny or like minimalize it or something. I've not expect it to be good, and quite a few people have said to me it's quite good. So maybe at some point I might give that a shot. There is a book called The ND Lovers Club, and it's How Neurodivergent Women Lust, Like, and Love, about how neurodivergent women approach relationships differently to neurotypical women. And apparently it's very good. I have a friend that I recommended it to, and she posted on
Oh,
Twitter and thanked me for recommending it. It's by Bontelsen. Oh my gosh, I'm probably not saying that right. And Sarah Louise Ackwell, who I'm connected to on LinkedIn. So that's BONTLESENNE. And it sounds very interesting. And I have got it to read at some point, but I haven't read it yet. Oh, we've watched a thing this week. It's called Death of a Show Jumper, and it's about a girl whose death looked like a suicide and turned out to not be a suicide. I mean, we watch quite a lot of true crime documentaries, or like interesting documentaries about weird
mm,
shit basically that's happened. There's the series on Netflix called Trainwrecked that has random documentaries about stuff that's happened that you're like, what? How's that a real thing? There was one about a ship that got covered in poo because the sewage, just the electrics went, and so because the electrics went, all the toilets weren't working, and so the ship was just covered in raw sewage. And
I've heard about that one.
yeah, there's
And there's one, there was a woman that's gone missing on a cruise. It was a long time ago now, a woman that went missing on a cruise ship as well. I've not watched it because my attention span's not great, but she went on a cruise with her family and then just went missing, and to this day, nobody's really sure where she went. There's various theories about it.
see if we want to watch something that's mindless, because the difference is with documentaries, I find, because like we've got loads of stuff on our watch list that's fiction series.
Mm,
I have to remember where we're up to. So if we don't watch it for a couple of days, I have to remind myself where we're up to. Whereas if we're watching a one-off documentary or
mm,
something that's 3 episodes and we can watch one a night, then I find it a lot more easy to remember. And it is really interesting, like how people can do stuff that's so awful.
mm,
I mean, this one we've just watched, the guy was loved by everybody, and it's interesting that people can do that and just be this amazing person on the outside and then kill somebody. It's just fascinating, horrible, but fascinating at the same time.
yeah. I
Um,
think it's like a almost a way of like trying to understand people, isn't it? There, because I've found myself like reading Wikipedia's about serial killers before, and then thinking, is this a really weird thing to do? But it's a way of like trying to understand how that person or how people can have those thoughts and break rules even, and it's not something that I would ever consider and not a viewpoint that I could ever consider having.
no, I mean it's
But,
common. It's quite common for neurodivergent people to like true crime. I mean, a lot of people like true crime, regardless of neurotype. But I think most neurodivergent people like a good documentary. I know that sounds like I'm being stereotypical, but because we're
mm,
learning all the time And sometimes it's only in our specific interest, but then we'll watch anything about that specific interest over and over and over. But then on the flip side, talking about one of the things that we did want to kind of mention today is that, like, when something happens in the news and is a current event, I don't want to know. Like, I'll watch true crime documentaries and when I can choose what I'm looking at, but then if something's a current thing and it's happening at the moment, I don't want to read about it because I know that if I start reading about it, I'll want to read everything, and there is too much. It's
Mm.
just too much. So I'm quite sort of ignorant, is a strong word, but I'm quite ignorant of what's going on in the world by choice because it's so far out of my control. And I either have to read all of the news or none of the news. And it's like anything. If nobody says to me, oh, watch this, then I won't watch it. I don't notice that things exist unless they're pointed out to me. I live really in like a little bubble. And we were talking about this because of there's a couple of recent things that have gone on with Donald Trump and his Tylenol rubbish.
Must
One of
be extra autistic. That's the joke that me and my husband have been making all week, is that paracetamol's got anything to do with autism, then I just must be turbocharged because I exist on paracetamol.
yeah,
Which I know is not what he's saying, but I love that that's how the neurodivergent internet has taken it. That
yeah,
like,
yeah. People,
yes,
a lot of
paracetamol. It's not my dad that like collected trains and spoons and things. It's definitely not that.
yeah.
It's paracetamol.
One of the mad things about it is that because of the amount of coexisting conditions with autism that mean that autistic women have to take paracetamol more generally because we're generally in more pain from more different things.
Mm.
I mean, the whole thing is really daft. There's the whole autism has existed for far longer than bleeding Tylenol and the amount of. I mean, I don't think there will be very many pregnant women that take no painkillers through pregnancy.
I should hope not,
I
because
don't think there'll be that many because at the end of the day, your body's going through some crazy ass shit from pregnancy, and pain is common. And even if you get a cold, you know, and you're struggling with a headache and you're trying to, you know, grow a baby and stuff,
mm,
function as a normal person, I don't think there will be very many pregnant women that get through pregnancy without taking paracetamol. And I think it's just the whole thing is just such a ridiculous waste of energy and time, and it annoys me a lot.
it
I do.
shouldn't be what gets me the most. And I think we probably have to preface this with, like we were saying, that part of it is like if something comes out in the news, you have to know about it all. But equally, for me, I think it's a processing thing that I read it sometimes and I'll go, I don't know whether I've understood that right, or doubt myself that I know what's going on well enough to be able to speak on it. But sometimes it's hard to go, well, no, actually, I am allowed to have that opinion because I'm an autistic woman, that I don't want my mum to think that, to read it and think that anything that she did was a cause for my autism. And also, it goes back to demonizing it as something that needs to be fixed, which is the main reason why it has sort of got into my brain a bit this week, because I think there's an argument for, and I've seen it online, like, who would you be without autism? But equally, like when you think about, and we said before, like when I was diagnosed, the nurse said to me, well, what have you achieved despite your autism? Would I have done that if I wasn't autistic? I don't know. It's part of,
It's
so
totally.
why would I want that to be cured or fixed? Or, like, don't get me wrong, some of the symptoms perhaps you would want to be better managed, but it's a type of brain. You can't fix a type of brain.
The whole blame part of any of this stuff really frustrates me because a lot of parents, especially parents of late diagnosed, like essentially like our parents, there's a whole how have I missed this part of that, when you find out that your child has all their life been neurodivergent and found things difficult, and then you have to process the fact that you have missed it, and perhaps there's something you could have done, but there isn't because the knowledge wasn't there to support us when we were kids. The knowledge wasn't there. There's no way that our parents could have known, and like our whole generation, there's no way the parents could have known any different, and generation above ours, and even quite a lot of people that are younger than we are, you know, people down to late 20s, early 30s, the awareness just wasn't there. And so to add in something to the mix of, oh, this has happened because of something you did when you were pregnant. What the? I mean, what? Really? Women do not need, we do not need to be blamed for stuff. Pregnancy is hard. It's really hard. I hated being pregnant. I really did. Most of it anyway. My body went to shit. My brain went to shit. I genuinely found it so difficult because my focus with ADHD, the link between estrogen and dopamine and what the body does in pregnancy as an ADHD woman, oh my God, my brain just fell apart and I couldn't cope with how much harder I found everything while I was pregnant. So to think now that I would potentially feel guilty for taking a painkiller is just like, what? It's the most ridiculous thing and it's so irresponsible.
It's just needless, I think, to even go, well, we need to find what the cause of this is. Oh, help the people that are
Oh,
already here.
yeah, it's not, it doesn't matter what causes it. The fact is that autism exists and it's not a disaster. There's a lot of very important people in the history of science, in the history of the arts, in the history of the world that have been autistic right back, you know, a long time. That's very vague, isn't it? But you know, autism has really, really helped the world and helped with scientific advances and creativity and general variation in human life. People having babies causes autism, and that's
Yeah.
some of it, but it's really tricky when it's something divisive to know whether you're saying the right thing. I know you touched on this. It's like, have I read this right? Am I going to say the right thing? And am I going to upset somebody? And I generally don't pay attention to the media for that reason. This I've had to kind of read some of because it's my job.
It's
And
not only that though, Emma, but you are autistic. So in the end, the reason why I felt comfortable to be able to speak about it is because it's my experience. So I know what my experience of being an autistic woman is
yeah,
and how I feel about it. And I think having that opinion's okay, but sometimes like the world makes you feel like it's not, or that you can't speak on things in case you accidentally say the wrong thing and then have an argument about it. But
that's true.
I think that's why I finally felt comfortable about. I mean, you're an ADHD person and it's your job as well. So you do know what you're talking about anyway. But
Yeah,
there's sort of sometimes you sort of think it's part of the self-doubt thing, isn't it? That you just think, well, what if I've read that and I've not understood it in the right way, or they meant something differently by that, and then I say my thing and somebody goes, well, no, you're not right.
yeah, yeah,
That's what you mean, isn't it?
yeah. It's really challenging. I mean,
It's
there's been
hard,
a
but
couple of recent things in the press. There was obviously the autism thing, and then a couple of weeks ago there was the Charlie Kirk thing, and have been really divisive. It's really difficult because I just don't want to get into an argument. I really don't. Like, I would like my social media and my life in general to be argument free if possible.
mm,
And so saying something about anything that is potentially divisive or that other people disagree with, you have to feel really strongly about, or I have to feel really strongly about before I mention it because I don't have the energy to put into
no.
arguing. I've got too much going on in my life to worry about arguing with other people. So it really is tricky to find a balance. I heard someone saying the other day, I think I mentioned this to you in a message, that we were supposed to live in a village and pay attention to what was going on in the village, and the fact that the world has evolved to a place where we know at the click of a button what's going on around the other side of the world and what's going on with the whole population and every different political system and every different leader and every different continent is too much for our brains. And that's kind of the way that I see it, in that if something's really close to me and important to me, and I'm not saying that other things that are going on in the world aren't important, I'm just saying if I started thinking about them, it would just be all consuming. Does that make sense? I don't know if it
Mm.
sounds wrong.
I think what my thoughts are, whatever input you want to have on a situation or not should be okay, and the fact that you choose not to be involved in particular situations shouldn't just automatically be assumed that you don't care about them, but sometimes you've got to do what you need to do to look after yourself and protect yourself. Like I gave the example of COVID, like when COVID started, all the numbers were everywhere, and I was reading things on Twitter constantly about how many people had contracted it, how many people had died, what the symptoms were, the hospital numbers. And eventually I just had to go for a good couple of months every time it was on the news, just say turn it over.
Yeah.
And it's not because I didn't care about the fact that people were dying or how scary things were, but I just couldn't physically take that input anymore
No,
because of how what else was in my brain.
it's totally
But
wrong.
that's not you not caring, it's just you making a choice to put yourself first or put certain priorities first, which shouldn't be judged
No,
or seen as not having an opinion or not caring.
no, it shouldn't. Ideally, we'd live in a world where everyone was happy and everyone got on with each other and people weren't arseholes. But unfortunately, the human condition is as
Mm.
such that some people are arseholes and some people aren't.
I know because I did make a post about the Donald Trump thing on my social media, and afterwards I was like, oh my God, what if people read it and they disagree with me? And I think I asked you about a post that I'd made on our friends' status, didn't I? And said, is that really rubbish? And you went, well, no, I did a heart on it, so I agreed with it. But even though I knew
I
how I
thought it might
felt
have been a
about it
couple of,
and
go
the reasons why I'd felt strongly enough to have that opinion on social media, I still then doubted it, and it still made me feel worse for a while afterwards because I'd got involved. So then sometimes you write things and you go, I don't want to have that feeling.
I quoted that comment that you made to quite a few people, by the way, just so you know,
What?
because I thought it was a really good observation.
Oh, what? The observation that I'd made on the status,
Yeah.
or I can't remember what it was.
It was about how not realizing that it's inappropriate to talk about where autism comes from at a funeral
Oh,
is a
yeah.
very autistic thing to do. It's a very prominent point to make. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I'd thought that several times, but I was glad when I saw you comment it because I'm like, oh, I don't have to say it now. Not that I would have, probably wouldn't have, but it's really,
Well, I wanted to say something, and then when I thought about it, I'm just like, he's made the announcement about how he's going to cure autism. He's found the reasons for autism. Donald Trump has at somebody's memorial.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
no, that's not what we do at funerals. I mean,
yeah. It's
it's
not
almost as if
fun.
you don't understand social cues. How much paracetamol did your mum have?
Yeah. Mm.
As much as like I don't have opinions on something, when I do then have an opinion, I get the social justice autism where
Yeah.
I have to have my opinion on things, and I have to like, and especially if it's somebody that I know as well, which this is going back to what I'm saying, I felt like I could have an opinion on it because I am autistic.
Yeah. It is important. I think potentially we should move on to something more light-hearted.
Do we have anything more light-hearted?
Yes,
I don't know.
we do,
What?
because I'm going to talk about the Sea Life Centre
And mushrooms. We can talk
and
about
mushrooms,
mushrooms.
both of
Do
those
you know
things.
that I like mushrooms?
I didn't
Before.
until yesterday, but I do now. So yesterday I went for a walk. It was supposed to be a short walk around a forest to see some fungus because I've been going to this place called Padley Gorge in the Peak District This is the third time I've been to see the mushrooms because I really, really like mushrooms. Now, I don't know any of their names, but I think that they're very pretty and they just amaze me. Mushrooms amaze me because they seem to come out of nowhere and it's unpredictable which will come and where they'll come. And I know that if I knew more about mushrooms, then it wouldn't be as unpredictable. But to me, it's like, oh, what are we going to find? And it's really exciting for me. And so me and my friend went with the three kids, and it was a very stressful day and a very long day. And we were out of the house from 9:10 until just before 6:30. And I was absolutely exhausted when I got home. And considering that, I was like, I need to rest as much as I can today because I've got this cold starting and I'm only going to go out for a short walk and we'll be back by mid-afternoon. And no, I failed because my friend said, we're 2/3 of the way to the cafe. Shall we just carry on and go to the cafe and get a coffee there and go to the bathroom there? And I said, sure.
Did you see any more mushrooms for
Saw
that
lots
part
of
of the journey?
We wouldn't have seen the red and white mushrooms or the orange and white mushrooms if we hadn't gone to the cafe. So it was worth it because I've never seen any red mushrooms with white spots.
They keep popping up on my social media now since we spoke about them yesterday,
That's what happens, isn't it?
and they're usually quite sought after,
Well,
those
they
ones.
do. They're very pretty. And
I've got a fact about them, you know,
oh, have you?
if they are what I think, because
Okay.
I think they're called fly agarics. There is a Latin name as well, but I can't remember what it is. Amanita something or other. If they're the right ones, those particular ones, reindeers eat them, and the urine Eskimos used to drink because they're toxic to humans if they're not like filtered, but they're also hallucinogenic. So
Oh, so they
they
used to
used
drink.
to filter the toxins through the reindeer because it doesn't affect the reindeer, and then drink the reindeer's wee
Oh,
and have a
wow.
lovely time.
That's interesting.
Yeah. What I find interesting about mushrooms is that there's that many different varieties that are all just slightly different, and also the people that know what they all are and all the Latin names for them all are just amazing.
So I put up pictures and I don't think I put any recurring types, maybe one or two. So there would have been more than 15 kinds of mushroom that I saw yesterday. And it was really exciting to see them. And actually, it was adorable because I said to the lads, they're both 6, nearly 7, the two older ones, and they were frustrating, but never mind. We were getting towards the cafe, and I just said to them, right, I need to see one of these red mushrooms with a white spot. So the goal is like to see one. Anyway, it would have been a good 45 minutes after I'd pointed it out, and all of a sudden my son shouts like they're miles bloody head on the path, and my son just shouts, "Mom!" And I'm like, oh, what's happening? Is everything okay? And then he was talking to this woman and her, I'm assuming her son, and he's like, my mum's gonna love this. She's gonna love this. She's absolutely gonna love this. This is her goal for the day. And
Mm.
he did found these red mushrooms. So yeah, I didn't find them. It was my son and his friend. There was probably about 10 or 11 of them, like all spread underneath the ferns. I was well chuffed.
Mm.
So it was a happy time for me. If I had the space, then mushrooms would probably be a special interest if I had no child. And I will probably
Well,
when
I
I
would.
spend time going and looking for them and foraging. Foraging is something that I would love to learn how to do properly.
Mm.
I really would love to be able to do that. So, like, a foraging experience is something that has been on my bucket list for quite a long time. So, hopefully
I
one
mean,
day I'll be able to do that.
I don't like to eat mushrooms generally. Well, no, I don't like to eat mushrooms full stop.
You know,
But like when you sent me the pictures of the mushrooms yesterday was when I told you that I'm on a mushroom identification group because we had some mushrooms in our garden a couple of years ago
yeah,
that I wanted to know what they were. And every year, when it gets around to this time of year, I could spend hours scrolling through people's photos on this group to just not like necessarily to learn because I never remember what they're all called, but just to look at all the different varieties and things and like chicken of the woods. I could probably try a bit of chicken of the woods at this point because that many people have shown it and get so excited about it, and some of the ones that like look like a beefsteak,
Yeah.
like I
Yesterday.
would probably try them at this stage, whereas I couldn't have really cared about mushrooms when I joined that group, and that was before I knew I was autistic.
Ah, okay.
But knowing now how interesting I find them, and like I've gone a few times on like Wikipedia's because they have like different sections of
Yeah.
mushrooms to look at like gills and things. And if there's a mushroom pops up in our garden, I try to like figure out what it is.
We do have some in our
Oh,
garden.
good.
I haven't been out and looked yet, but my fiance said yesterday when he was clearing up the apples that have fallen off the apple tree. It sounds like I live over the wilds. When he was clearing up the apples, he noticed that there was some mushrooms, and I'm going to go and have a look. We did have some last year, but yeah, I might actually try and identify them this year. But I've always wanted to grow them because I love mushrooms. I will eat mushrooms with anything. I'll have if you add mushrooms.
That's what I was going to tell you yesterday when you were talking about it. Because have you seen the kits that you can get that
Yes.
where you can grow your own?
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't eat them, but
we have a greenhouse, and apparently they grow quite well because of the humidity.
it's the
You can get
humidity,
like
yeah.
specific soil to grow them in. But yeah,
Moist,
moistness.
moist.
Hopefully, the word moist isn't a trigger to any of our listeners because it is a trigger to some people, isn't it?
Mm,
I'm not going to say it really slowly and loudly, but you know. Anyway, that's fungus,
mushrooms.
mushrooms. And then I think we'll talk about the Sea Life Centre briefly. We went to the Sea Life Centre on Saturday. It was for my friend's son's birthday. And it was really funny because, well, you see, when I go anywhere, even before I had a child, to be fair, I'm not going to lie, if there's like a trail or a quiz or a spot all the facts and fill this in and get a sticker at the end, I will do that. I will want to do it. It doesn't matter whether I've got children with me or not because it's an excuse to read all the signs and because I just like the reward. I just like getting a sticker. I like being able to finish things and say, "Yay, I did it. Let's have a sticker." But now that I've got a child, I'm sort of even worse. And we had three with us, so we got three sets. There was two different trails. One of them was like a scratch off card thing, and the other was a Halloween special trail. So we had three kids, three sets of two. And I went round and I filled them all in, and they were all filled in identically, and they were all scratched off. And we got to the counter at the gift shop, and I don't think that some people, neurotypical people potentially, or not autistic people, necessarily do one for each child because the guy looked at me and he was like, "Why have you got?" He was like, "You've got three." I was like, "I've got three sets. They're all the same." I think I'd counted up the number of jellyfish wrong, but they're all the same. They're all filled in. These are the three children, just to prove, that I wasn't trying to swizz him out of any stickers. He laughed and he said that I had got the number of jellyfish wrong, which was annoying because you had to count these like luminescent jellyfish as you went round the Sea Life Centre, but they were hidden. They were like on the side of tanks and things, and we were chasing children, so it's quite difficult to. I managed to find all the signposts, but I missed
Oh,
some of the giant luminescent jellyfish. But he said that, I'm going to give you the stickers anyway for effort because obviously you've gone to a lot of trouble to fill these in. I couldn't have done it any other way. I don't think I could have done it any other way. I would have felt like saying, "Oh, I've got two children. These can I have two stickers? These are the filled in things." I think completionism is well. I probably would have suggested it for trait of the week if we were doing sections because it is really
mm,
common if you're playing a game for an autistic person to want everything to be 100% finished, like a computer game or following the rules. And it's like, well, it says I have to do this, so I have to do this, otherwise I haven't finished the game or I haven't successfully
I
completed
always
this.
with Candy Crush,
Ah, yeah.
which is one of the things that my husband mentioned on my autism informant thingy actually, is
Okay.
Candy Crush. Because I can't like obviously it's the like pattern recognition and things, but I have to go because you get an amount of levels on Candy Crush, and we're not sponsored by Candy Crush, but if they want to sponsor me,
Yeah.
they can. If you're first to the end of that section of levels, you get gold.
Yeah.
And I have to be, especially recently or when I'm anxious, I can't just do one level. And obviously, you don't have a choice if you can't pass the level. But at the minute, I'm in a like part of Candy Crush where for some reason I've like completed 200, 300 levels without losing a life or
Oh,
something.
wow, well done.
Yeah, because you get to the end, and if you first get to the end of that section, you get gold. So I have to get to the end of that section, but then they've also got now like a thing where you complete a certain amount of levels and you get gold.
Okay.
So I'll complete it until I get to that point and then I'll stop. I don't think you could complete Candy Crush,
No.
but you can complete that section. And if I don't get to that point, it doesn't feel right to stop, even though I'm just like, I could do with not playing this anymore. Like, I can
You
just
have to
see
finish it
all
to
the
the next
colours in my
level.
sleep at this stage. But with Candy Crush, I can go months without like playing it a lot. And then all of a sudden, especially when I'm anxious and things like that, it'll come out more. And it's a thing that I can, like crochet, I suppose, it's a thing that you can concentrate on and you're not thinking about other stuff. And you also, when you're on Candy Crush, not checking social media or responding to messages or things like that. You just,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a big time drain for me at games like that I have
yeah.
to get to the next section because I can't just
Mhm.
finish it. You can't just put it down halfway through a section.
No.
You have to get through the next challenge and then if you get to the end of the next challenge and forget to put it down, yeah, then you
Mhm.
have to do the next. And yeah, I've lost hours and hours and hours and hours.
Yeah.
It's an issue. It's a big issue. Yeah, completionism is a common thing, needing everything to be finished before you finish. And I mean, that's a problem with work and all sorts of things. And it's like
I was
with
just
jobs
gonna
and
say,
like, yeah, staying at work late to finish the thing that you're doing because you can't finish for the day and your brain
mm,
won't close the box on it until you've got to the end of the section so that you can then go home and switch off.
yeah,
Um,
until you've done the thing that you'd planned to do.
yeah. Yeah, and it's a big struggle with certain things, and it's a big conflict between autism and ADHD because sometimes my brain won't let me start something until
Or complete it.
a certain point. Yeah, but if I can't start something until I'm just about to finish work and then I have to stay and finish it, it's a massive issue. If I know I can't finish for the day
Yeah.
until I've done that task, but that task's the one thing that my brain doesn't seem to want me to do, it's a really difficult one. I've had to get used to closing the computer on things that I really wanted to get done and accepting that that's okay, but it's not an easy
Mm,
thing. But yeah, so just on the subject of the Sea Life Centre, anglerfish. So there was a big anglerfish, like, I don't know if it was a skeleton or a model. I think it probably was a model, to be honest. But my son got an anglerfish plush, and so did my friend's son. And then afterwards, oh gosh, there was another fact as well. Oh, there's two animal facts. So this is the first one. The first one, anglerfish. Did you know that male anglerfish are like parasites on the female anglerfish?
no, but it makes sense.
So the anglerfish women are the strong ones with the big, dangly light.
Yeah, like that one that came to the surface last year and she went viral on the internet, didn't she?
I missed that.
Did you see it?
No, I
I
didn't see
think
it.
she died.
Oh, that's sad.
Yeah, she came to the surface to die.
Yeah, that's a bit.
But they're really, really small, aren't they?
Anglerfish,
Yeah,
are they?
yeah. I'll have to find the video for you.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the things that you didn't want to get involved in. Yeah.
Viral things generally go over my head because I pay no attention to anything.
Yeah,
Just watch those.
yeah. It was more on TikTok, which you not.
I'm not, but I don't watch them generally because it's overwhelming for me.
Mm,
But yeah, so the male anglerfish latches onto his female of choice and eventually just becomes part of her and just is a parasite just clinging onto her side. So that's quite an interesting fact. And the other interesting fact,
Mm.
actually, my fiance told me when we were talking about elephant balls, and I was telling her about elephant balls and talking about the hot testicle hypothesis, which we spoke about in episode 12. If you didn't listen to that, then go and listen to it. And he said to me, did you know that turtles, when they are incubating, the temperature at which they are incubated at impacts their sex? So if they are
Yes.
incubated at a lower temperature, they are male, and if they are incubated at a higher temperature, then they are female. And that, I was reminded of that at the Sea Life Centre when we were watching the Turtle Talk, which we've watched every time we've been, and we've been quite a few times to the Sea Life Centre. We've got Merlin passes, so you can get in for free. And he just tapped me on the shoulder, said, "See, I told you." And I'm like, "Yeah, we've been here so many times," but it hadn't registered because normally I'm too busy watching what my son's doing to pay attention. Because it's not on any of these sheets that I have to fill in because I only,
Oh.
But yeah, that was another interesting fact about animals. So I thought I'd just squeeze a couple of those in right at the end of the podcast. Right. So that'll do, I think. I don't think.
Oh,
Oh, wait. Oh, no, we haven't talked about the title. That was close. The finger did it.
we've not had a rave in our minds. We're not going to have a rave in our minds, but we are going to talk about the title, which was I've Got a Bus Cat.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be I've got a bus to catch.
Yeah.
There we go.
Mm,
There used to be a guy in Manchester that used to ride the free bus with a white rabbit,
with a rabbit
rabbit man.
and his top off. Or was that Pip
I
Blackie?
think so. I think he had his top off as well, and sometimes he had a skateboard. But it wasn't always
With
the free.
Rabbit.
No, the man. The rabbit didn't have a
We
skateboard.
did see him though, didn't we? Because,
Oh, my.
like, considering how infrequently I'm in Manchester, we did see him on the bus home
He
once,
used to
didn't
get
we?
he used to get the 85 through Whalley Range to Manchester, and I used to live in Whalley Range, so we didn't used to have to get on the bus with the rabbit man, but he often was on the bus at that time, and it was always nice to see him. He was just a chilled out. I remember when he passed away, and there was loads of memorials like all around in the papers and stuff because everyone loved him.
The rabbit or the man?
The man. Now I'm panicking that I've made that up and actually there wasn't, and he's still alive, and I've just basically written him off.
I think you're right because I think I saw it as well. I think you
I
shared it with me when he died.
I always panic that when I talk about people dying that I've got it wrong and actually they're still alive and I've dreamt it, because sometimes I do dream about things happening that aren't real because I have quite vivid dreams.
Mm.
Anyway, but yeah. Anyway, so thank you for listening if you've got this far. And if you've
Mm.
got any questions or comments or feedback or want us to talk about anything specific, please email us at that'llbethetism@gmail.com. And if you want to find out more about us or look at our social media or anything, then find all our links at linktr.ee/that'llbethetism.
Yes.
Back with potentially more energy in a fortnight.
No, we won't. Because do you
You
know
are.
where I'm going in a fortnight?
Oh,
I don't understand how you don't know this because it's the
that's
most
the week.
important
That's
thing.
the week that you're in Benidorm.
I'm going to Benidorm, so I'm not
Okay.
coming to the podcast next time. The next podcast after this one will be on the Sunday, the 26th of October.
We should probably say some spooky things in that episode for
I'll think
Halloween.
of some
Can have a Halloween themed one. I've moved the
spooky
event. So
tism jokes.
yeah.
We'll have some
Um,
spooky tism jokes.
we need some spookyisms.
Hmm.
So yes. Right. Thank you and have a lovely 3 weeks. And then when we come back, Claire will be talking about Benidorm.
Yes, I'm surprised that I haven't talked about Benidorm this time. Maybe I'm putting a lot on it, but
I think it's needed.
I'm gonna have a lovely time on my mobility scooter,
Yeah.
not drinking cocktails on the mobility scooter.
Yeah. What we need is to promise people that while you're away, you'll put a picture on the Tism podcast of you on your scooter.
Yeah,
Being joyful.
yeah.
I think it's a good
It's
idea.
exciting.
I've got a picture of a seahorse from the Sea Life Centre to post on the Tism account because of normal seahorses.
No,
I feel like that's something that I need to do every time I go to a Sea Life Centre now
it's just take a picture of a seahorse
and put it on the Tism account.
and put it on the Tism account. Maybe you can put your mushrooms on there.
I might put some mushrooms on there. I might put a picture of a seahorse and a picture of a couple of different mushrooms.
Maybe somebody can identify them for you
And then
and tell me if I'm right about the red one.
I mean, I can just repost the post that I posted
Yeah.
about mushrooms.
There is one of our listeners that I'm reasonably sure can tell you what some of those mushrooms are. Because you know pebbling where you send people things that interest them.
Yeah.
I just send her links to pictures of mushrooms.
Ah.
I know that she likes mushrooms.
Anyway, thank you and good night.
Good night.
We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.